look like Canelo Alvarez is fooled, you know. Look like everybody want to call Canelo Alvarez out these days. After the John Ryder performance, you know, most people wanted the Canelo fight to sound like for the payday, you know. And now I think people starting to call Canelo Alvarez out because they think they can whoop his ass and now be called the new cash cow of boxing. You know, I think people thinking they really could beat him. You know, I think people respected what Dimitri Bivol did as a fighter. You know, they knew he's a really good fighter. When you see him in there and he looked piss poor versus John Ryder, I think a lot of people grew a pair of nuts and said, "Now, man, I think I could beat this dude." And I mean, I've been kind of seeing the decline in him. I mean, you know, I think you see it a little bit in the Billy Joe Saunders fight, the Caleb Plant fight, the Bivol fight. I think people respected. I think boxers respected Bivol as a pro, as a real boxer. And I think people seeing what he was able to do, and stuff of that. But I think people starting to kind of see like Canelo not the same physically, and you know, and when you're not the same physically, you know, now you kind of got to beat dudes with your, you know, with more of the mental game and more of the technical side of things. And I don't think Canelo overly rely on athletic ability. So I think I think he'd be okay. But a lot of these fights that, you know, that he went in by 1 or 2 points and it's closer for people liking, might start kind of being draws and going the other way now. You got Jamel Charlo kind of calling him out, and Charlo's used to kind of like kiss his ass for me too much, but now, you know, you got Lil Charlo calling him out. You got people really feeling confident about beating him. I mean, Benavidez's father been saying this he said for the last 4 fights he seen he ain't the same fighter. You know, kind of what I've been seeing. You know, and I think people starting to really recognize that Canelo Alvarez, and rightfully so, 61 fights. How this era going, nobody gonna reach that amount of fights, not even Boots. Boots came into Showtime with about 20, 25 fights. And now they done slowed that motherfucking shit all the way down. So he may not even get nowhere near that, you know? And now I think people seeing a grand opportunity to kind of beat him and be the guy. But I really think to transfer that power to being the guy, obviously you got to kind of build it up like Mayweather and De La Hoya. Mayweather talk that shit, but also you got to knock that motherfucker out. I feel like you got to knock him out to really get the cash cow power, and that's gonna be hard to do. But I feel like you really got to just knock him out. We seen him outbox. I think the next greatest thing to do is try to go for the kill and knock him out. And then, you know, if you talk some shit and build it the right way, I think you could be the guy then. But a lot of people opinion around the internet, what you saying, you know, when Benavidez after playing, they were saying, "Oh, there's no way Benavidez can beat Canelo Alvarez, and there's no way that can happen, and you know, he ain't good enough." And now them very same people turning around saying, "I don't think he could beat Benavidez." But you just know how boxing is such a knee-jerk reaction sport. Canelo go out there and dust Benavidez off, everybody gonna be saying, "Oh man, I told you Canelo wasn't done," and it's a knee-jerk reaction. They gotta say you only as good as your last fight, and I really don't buy into that. You know, I really don't buy into that. You know? And some people might ask why I don't buy into that. I mean, shit, you train anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks for a camp. And you pose the peak on a Pacific day perfectly every time. That's just not, you know, that's just not doable. That's just not, you know, that's not possible. You're going to have off nights. You know? And Canelo might fight up and down to his competition a bit too. Not saying he one of those guys 100%, but he might be one of those dudes who fight up and down to his competition. So, and that might be kind of like what he on. So, you know, but I think people starting to say, well, you know, he lose, or he was on the decline here and there. And then I heard Lion Killer, he did a video and said, was this due to lack of pad usage? And, you know, I'm not going to say that. I kind of heard what Victor Conte kind of said about the clenbuterol and shit, and how he kind of gave Canelo a pass for it, and he kind of talked about it. So, and Canelo gave hot hair follicles, and it sounded like it proved him to be real. It proved to kind of be, you know, meat consumption. Cool. I take that excuse. You know, he ain't completely exonerated in my book, but I don't think it got nothing to do with that, because if he really wanted to get by on Pez, they just could put a gag order on his testing, like PBC do. So they could just put a gag order on his testing. So shit, you know what I mean? If it was that greasy, man, I heard a rumor about a fighter who was a 168-pound prominent fighter back in the day, that they used to tamper with the scale so he can make weight. You know? So there's a lot of shit going around. So, but okay, let's say that was true. I just think at the end of the day, 60 plus fights, you know, and I just think, you know, when you move up in weight, shit get harder. No matter if it's your natural weight class or not, it get harder. Guys are bigger. Guys absorb shots better. Shots hurt more. You carrying more weight for a 12-round fight. You got to understand, bro, all that's different. So he going up against tougher competition. Namesake-wise, in a lot of y'all opinion, it may not be tougher, but these dudes rehydrate a little bit more. These dudes hit a little bit harder. These dudes take a better punch. These dudes a little bit more durable. A little bit more sturdier. And then when you fluctuate up and down, that ain't never good for a fighter over 30. It ain't never good for a fighter to keep fluctuating up and down. It ain't never good. You know, it ain't never good. It ain't never good. Talk to somebody, you know, oh, I gotta make 68. Now I'm gonna come back and make 60. Or I make 68, come back and make 75. Even if you can do it, that's just putting, that's just putting unnecessary stress on the body. To me, that ain't never good. Especially when you over 30 fighting. So that's what Roy Jones did. Went to heavyweight, put all muscle on, 193 or something like that, all muscle. And that was bad advice. Then you rip all the muscle down and he look like a senior citizen. Of course. That's too much strain on the body. You don't move up all muscle that high. You know? So, but yeah, man, you know, I mean, all those play factors in it, but I think everybody see him as a target, as a lick. And it's up to him to prove that not to be true. Now, you know, a couple things can happen. His matchmaking can become a little bit more easier. I mean, a little bit, you know, more, you know, choosy. But also, he got to bring a return to the zone. Unless he's willing to take a huge pay cut. He took $10 million pay cut to fight John Knight Rider. He's Gorilla. John the Gorilla Rider. I ain't like that nickname, nigga. I'm calling you Knight Rider. Even though you didn't earn it. But you didn't earn Gorilla neither. But at the end of the day, man, people want to see big fights, and the zone need views. People gonna want to see Benavidez, you know what I'm saying? People gonna want to see Charlo twins, and we'll see. But I think he gonna be even more choosy with his with his matchmaking. That's just me being honest. I don't know if he gonna fight Beaver or not. If he fight Beaver again, man, 75, 68. You know, Beaver whoop his ass. I think people still give him a pass on that one. But you nobody tell him to go knock on Beaver's door. What's that song by Adele? Hello. No, nigga, you should have said. You should have ding dong dished on another door. All real boxing fans knew Beaver was capable of beating him. We just didn't know he was gonna get the decision. They wasn't trying to give it to him either. But yeah, I think people start, you know, what's that song by V.V. Brown? There's a shark in the water. I think people starting to kind of, you know, them sharks starting to smell blood, and people starting to gain a bit of confidence on him. So it's up to him, and you know, the second half of his career, or the back half of his career, it's up to him to prove that he's still that guy, or you know, start just taking easier and easier fights. But let's see what happens. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We go live and drop a video. Financially, want to support the channel, Cash App, $CJGood313, Venmo, CJGood313, PayPal link in the description. Hit the link tree, find me on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the whole nine. Hit the link tree, you can find me everywhere. TikTok, appreciate y'all following me on TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Check out no boxing playlist for this one, but I appreciate y'all. Peace.